A statement saying both sides engaged in confidential settlement talks and the mediation sessions that are planned for next week have now been canceled. Is it good news? Is it bad news? We have a court hearing tomorrow in front of the 8th Circuit's Court of Appeals in St. Louis. I'm confused. We mix sports and the law as we do every Thursday, and Steve Moskowitz is back on Chronicle Live.
I think it's good news. My prediction for tomorrow is the judges are going to vote the same way they did last time, with the one Clinton-appointed judge saying for the players, the two Bush-appointed judges saying for the NFL, unless either side can give some new evidence to these judges. So then we take a look at what's really happening. And I'm somewhat optimistic at the talks because we've had a cancellation of that mediation system, which means the parties are talking to each other. And I think that maybe, just maybe, they're saying, well, wait a minute, we're all going to lose if we don't work something out. But it's delicate. And one of the things I think is real important here, although money, of course, is important to everyone, I think it's real important we take a look at these guys' egos. We have very large egos on the line, and it's not just about the money, although it's a very important factor. All
right, most people agree with you that this Court of Appeals in St. Louis will run to the same vote that they did when they kept the stay in place right after the NFL draft started. It'll be 2-1, so the owners would have the hammer. The lockout would stay. But there's two different issues here, and I hope we're not getting off track here, because what Judge Boylan said today, the chief magistrate, is that both sides are engaged in confidential settlement talks. So are we talking about trying to settle this Brady antitrust lawsuit, or are these guys trying to actually get a collective bargaining agreement so the NFL can go back to work?
These guys are trying to get a collective bargaining agreement. They want to go back to work, and that other lawsuit is a different thing. It's going to be pushed to the back. This is what it's all about. Can they hammer out a deal that everybody can live with?
All right, so why did they meet now? Because everybody you talked to in the NFL a week ago or 2 weeks ago, they were all locked in on this June 3rd date. Both sides are preparing their arguments. They're going to have to go in front of the 8th Circuit and make their oral arguments tomorrow. And we wouldn't know either side who would have leverage until the hearing. So why do you think they got together a couple of days before the hearing?
That's the way it almost always is. We do a lot of lawsuits in the office, and it starts off with both parties. We're set in stone. We're not moving. See you in court. And then all of a sudden the parties start to move. And also, let's not forget about egos. Meeting now, somebody can say, well, we don't know the decision yet. One of the judges could go the other way. Let's work something out. I think it's typical in a lawsuit, but more so because there's an ego involved, and they can go ahead and hammer it this way without saying, well, I won, you lost.
All right, take me inside the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals in St. Louis. What's going to happen tomorrow? The counselors of note are Greg Levy for the owners, Jeffrey Kessler for the players, DeMaurice Smith, as far as what I understand, will be present, Roger Goodell. None of the owners will be in court tomorrow. So how does this work that each side makes their argument tomorrow, Steve?
Basically, the attorneys are doing that, and each attorney is trying to show why, if the judge doesn't agree with them, there will be irreparable damage, and you have to do it, or there's no amount of money and nothing can be done that can fix that. This is what both sides argue. All
right, they're just going to have their day tomorrow to make the arguments. Right. How long will it take for the three justices to make their decision? Will it be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month? How long?
That's up to them. Normally, a judge has a lot of leeway in how long he takes, but something like this, with all this attention, I'm going to predict that this is going to happen very quickly.
So you think within a week or two?
Easily.
All right, well, you'll see. Everybody thinks the owners will win. If the players do win, the lockout is lifted immediately, and that opens up.
Then we'll have something different to talk about, but I think it's what's going to happen.
All right, thanks for your time tonight, Steve Moskowitz, and thanks for your time on Chronicle Live. We're back on tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and we're going to have Brian Wilson, the eccentric closer of the San Francisco Giants, joining us tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow at 5 with B. Weezy on Chronicle Live.